It is mostly lovely and hot and all that good stuff. So hope you're enjoying the warm weather here, the dog days of summer. A lot going on in the world. Talk about, well, let's first start on a very sad note. Aretha Franklin passing away today. What a monster, queen of soul, Aretha Franklin. Very sad, passing away today. News broke around 10 this morning. Everybody knew it was coming. She, in recent days, we had heard she was in hospice and not doing well, but by all accounts, friends were saying that she was resting peacefully, surrounded by friends and family, and that is always a good thing. But Aretha Franklin, what a just a monster in the industry. It really paved the way for so many people influenced by Aretha Franklin. Not too long ago, I think maybe 2 years ago, she did that Kennedy Center honors, and I don't know if you remember this. President Obama was up there. It was when President Obama was in office, and yeah, I think you remember he might have wiped a tear away. It was for Carole King. She was getting the Kennedy Center honors, and just an amazing performance from Aretha Franklin. And it's weird to look back and see that that was only 2 years ago, but I guess even then she was not doing well. Ends up passing away from pancreatic cancer. And I guess she had been really sick for a long time. I heard some people that were close to her talking about she just did not want people to know it. But she had been really, really ill, canceled a bunch of concerts, in recent months, and obviously quickly took a turn for the worst. But a sad day for the music world, a huge loss. Just decades of great songs, 60s, 70s, 80s, huge hits. And really, some strange collaborations too. One that jumps to mind is that collaboration she did with George Michael. Two people from what seems to be very different ends of the earth coming together and just making a monster hit. And she did a lot of that sort of stuff. So that's just one snippet of a long story career. But Aretha Franklin, rest in peace, 76 years old, passing away today of pancreatic cancer. So very sad. That's a big time loss. That's one of the ones that you really feel in the music world. Anytime that happens, there's been a lot of them in recent years. Tom Petty, Prince. God, I shouldn't have went down this road because I'm gonna miss plenty of them. But just there's been a lot of the big time losses for the music world in recent years. And it's always sad. So the best to her family. It seems like she went peacefully, so that is always a good thing. What else was how about this? So I'm going to stick to lakes. The shark attack on the Cape there in Truro. I don't know if you guys saw this yesterday, but a guy is out in the water, 60 years old, I think, swimming, just a guy swimming, and shark comes up to him, grabs him in the hip, and got big time puncture and everything. And unbelievable job, by the way. For those of you who have not seen the pictures or don't know this, Longnook Beach in Truro. Maybe some of you have been there, but the deal is this is like this monstrous beach, and that there's no cell phone service. No matter what service you have, nobody can get service at this beach for some reason, it seems. To the point where all these good Samaritans were there helping this guy that got bitten by a shark, and at last check he was responsive and seemed to be like he was going to be all right. But 20 people or so grab this guy and start carrying him up a big hill, like these big sand hills through dunes and everything, and unbelievable team effort. There's again no cell service, so one person actually has to get off the beach with a cell phone and ends up running a long distance, a relatively long distance for the circumstances, running to find service, and then calls 911 so they could get a medevac helicopter over there. Pretty amazing story. I was watching it all develop last night. And it was just kind of crazy to hear all those moving parts that came together. But yeah, another shark attack. Sharks are out there, especially off the Cape, with all the seals and everything. Usually they don't bother you. Everybody talks about how they don't bother you. I'm more comfortable in the lake, though. I'm going to tell you that much. That's the way I feel about it. Do your ocean swimming. I don't think it should deter you. I mean, they are rare, these attacks, but I don't know. I think I would. I prefer the lake. anyways, hopefully that man there, that 60-year-old man, is okay there in Truro after that attack. Red Sox lost a baseball game last night. That is actually newsworthy. The Boston Red Sox losing a baseball game, and it looked like they were going to win too. They jumped out 3-0, squandered a couple game. Red Sox lose. They don't do that often. Not a big deal when you're 10 games up, but it is a big deal that I don't feel very confident in the setup men right now for the Boston Red Sox come playoff time. So they're going to have to figure that out, whether they move a guy from the starting rotation to the bullpen or what. Not sure, but they definitely need to figure it out. So my guest is already here, so why don't I get out of the way? There's a good little open right there. Again, this is Afternoon Drive. My name is Drew Moholland. This is Joppa Radio. Today we're going to be joined by, he's a man you may know, be more familiar with as the head baseball coach over at Triton. And this year, he is also the head football coach, hired in the offseason, Coach Ryan McCarthy of Triton, in the house. And first time on this particular show. I talked with him on the old show over the phone, but I finally got a chance to meet him in person just a few minutes ago. And when we come back, we will have him on, and we will, we'll talk about football season, which I believe every team gets going tomorrow. And I believe that is the truth for Coach McCarthy here, too. So we'll do all that when we get back. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter. It's at Joppa Afternoons, Joppa Afternoons, at Joppa Afternoons. My name is Drew Moholland. This is Afternoon Drive. We'll be back with Coach Ryan McCarthy at Triton in just a moment.
I didn't see the green of spring until the leaves were falling. I didn't hear your voice till you had stopped your calling. Wasn't until the silence,
All right, Coach, come on in.
I knew just what to say.
Isn't it
Wasn't until you left me, I needed you
not blasted on the music?
to stay.
Yes, you're right over there, man. So
I didn't hear your laughter till I heard you crying. Didn't see forever after until your love was dying. Didn't want to wear your ring till the offer didn't stand. Now I would do anything to see it on my hand, on my hand. But I am right where I had wanted to be. Though I have come here so carelessly, and you were gone, you were long gone. I guess I'm free. I guess I'm free, free. I didn't see till I was blind with grieving. Wasn't until you lost your faith that I was all believing. I thought our love would have its day tomorrow. Oh, but I am right where I had wanted to be. And though I have come here so carelessly, and you were gone, you were long gone, I guess I'm free. I guess I'm free, free. I didn't see the green of spring till the leaves were falling.
All right, welcome back to Afternoon Drive here on Joppa Radio. My name is Drew Moholland. Hope you're having a good Thursday afternoon here. Last show of the week for us. Almost made it to the weekend, so there you go. Again, we are joined today by the head coach of, Triton baseball and now football, Coach Ryan McCarthy. First time on this show for Coach McCarthy. I had him on the old show, but now we get to meet in person. Coach, how are you?
Great. Yourself?
Things are good. So you are the let's start with the football thing, because this is you were hired, and we were just talking. You were hired in March for the head football position.
Yes.
And you were the assistant coach for how many years?
5 years.
5 years. So you know the program. You know a lot of these guys already. That must help a little bit.
Yeah, it certainly does. Getting a new coach can be tough.
Yeah.
But where I've been around and I've coached these guys. Everybody besides the freshmen. I think it's good for the program.
Absolutely. So you got the call in March. Did you have an idea that might be coming? I mean, obviously you have to apply for these things and all that.
It's a process. Everybody's applying, and there's rounds of interviews.
Yep.
And I just hope that I got a fair chance, and I did. And when I was told, I was just excited about it because I obviously wanted to stay at Triton and continue to coach. And
what do you do when you sit down with your athletic director who already knows you and knows you well? And I don't know, do you have to sit down with principals and stuff, or just the ADs usually?
There's a committee for the interview.
Several people.
It consisted of the athletic director, assistant principal, a parent, teacher in the building, and then there were 2 returning players.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that common?
Yeah. I've been on several of them for other sports.
Wow.
As the other, another coach.
Okay.
So
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
So what's the? I guess.
And then I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
But if you make it to the final interview, it's then just the athletic director and the principal.
Okay. Well, that feels like a lot of pressure.
Yeah. I mean, it's more of you think in your first interview, I guess you kind of spill your guts of everything that you want everybody to hear. You hope you get everything out,
Yeah.
And then it's like going into the second one, like, what else can I say? So
maybe if you make the second one, it's just don't screw up. But, well, that's interesting. I did not realize that's how that's a very intuitive process. I've never had to go through that with several layers of people.
Yeah.
What's the idea? What's the goal of having a parent there?
To be honest with you, I'm really not sure. I mean, more or less, I think it's from she was on the boosters.
Okay.
For football, all sports have their own separate boosters now.
Yep.
So I think her question was based around the boosters. So.
So they're not like representing the parents as a family of parents. We say yes or no.
Right.
That seems interesting. All right. Well, so you guys. So tomorrow, right? Friday.
Yeah.
Friday is the day. Camp begins.
It does.
Mid-August. Exciting times. I know. Is this something like you're waiting all summer for it, or does it actually feel like it comes quickly?
Like I said, being hired in March, kind of a short period of time.
Yeah.
But I've got some returning coaches, and we're not changing much.
Yep.
So I'm excited. Being a head coach, no matter how many sports you're a head coach in, it's year round.
Yep.
So. I've been thinking about football
as soon as
baseball ended. And I got the job, so it's a year-round thing for me.
Yeah. Why don't you remind everybody too? Obviously, you're the head baseball coach as well over at Triton. Why don't you remind everybody? You guys have had some really good teams over there. Yeah. How was the year this year again?
Yeah, we finished 12-8. Yep. Unfortunately, we lost in the first round of state tournament.
Another tournament bid, though.
Yeah. To a very good pitcher from Gloucester, senior, lefty. Lefties are tough.
Don't get to see a lot of them, right?
No, you don't.
Yeah. So, and that's good. What was the year you guys had I think you made a run. You won a couple games. You had some good pitching. I remember one year I went down to your field and
Justin Cashman.
Yes, Cashman.
Yeah,
Cash is the boys' code.
Cash,
right?
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he's he went to the University of Hartford on scholarship, Division I. Yeah.
Did he really? And he's pitching for Hartford.
Yeah,
good for him. You follow him when the?
I do. I try to keep in contact as much as I can.
Yeah.
I know he's busy, so
that's probably a very beneficial part about being a coach. You get to see those guys that you coached and go on to bigger and better things.
Absolutely.
I'm sure that's probably what you're really in it for, right? And some tournament wins, of course. But so that's cool. So the football season though kicks off tomorrow. What's the rules for you guys? I mean, it has changed a little bit over the years, right?
Yeah.
When I was in high school, I think it was like We always used to watch the football guys and be like, ooh, those double sessions don't look fun. But they're still probably not fun. But
we're allowed one.
One double session.
Yeah, and really it's one of the practices is no contact.
Okay.
So it's more of a walkthrough for us, an hour.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That is very
it's
different.
a lot different from when I played in years before that.
Yeah, when you played, it was probably similar to. I didn't play football, but I remember the culture. You know, 2 a days. You're out there running like crazy, and kind of a last man standing thing.
When I played, we got to the locker room 8 in the morning, and we didn't get home till 4 in the afternoon. We didn't leave.
Is that right?
Yeah,
wow.
we would have a practice. They'd give us time off, have something to eat, rest, get off our feet, and then. Right
8 to 4.
Yeah, pretty much.
Summer heat.
Yeah, but you know what? We loved it. So
yeah, you have to be down there doing that, right?
Absolutely.
That's cool. That's one of the. What's the other change that jumps out to you as a former player from? I'm not sure how old are you. You're obviously one of the younger coaches in the league, probably, if I had to guess, right?
Actually, I mean, a lot of the coaches have been around for
is it a young
They're all
group?
starting to retire. Yeah. It's a lot of new coaches in the league.
Yeah,
and younger.
Well, anyways, you're not that far removed from playing though. But what other big changes are there?
I don't know. It's just numbers. Numbers is a thing. I think a lot of people are struggling.
Way down, huh? It seems like down
all
across
around.
the country.
It's not just us. It's I think most of the league, besides probably Masco, because he's so much bigger than us. But a lot of the leagues, a lot of the teams are struggling with numbers, and not sure if they're going to have three levels or not. I've seen that in the last few years. I think that's one of the biggest things.
Yeah, and that's more of a nationwide thing, right?
Absolutely.
And whether it be concussions
Sure.
or other sports or one sport athletes, which I'm sure is something you run into.
Absolutely.
And, since I saw a little reaction there, why don't I ask you for your opinion on the one sport athlete?
Yeah, I mean, I'm against it.
Everybody seems to be
I'm
against
always. I think it's. I'm totally for 3 sport athletes.
Yeah.
I think you can learn something in every sport. Different, and I just feel those kids get burnt out.
Yeah.
They're constantly playing whatever it is, from, January to January. And at some point, I mean, by the time you're a senior in high school, I mean, I think enough's enough. I mean, you can only do so much.
Yeah, there's a coach in college ball right now who actually a young coach in I want to say Illinois. Could be wrong on that, but I can picture him. I just can't. I'm not in football mode quite yet, like you are, so I don't quite have I can't quite get the name. But I remember him saying that we would actually not recruit a player if he had just specialized in football. They wanted to see the other sports.
I've heard that a lot from college coaches. They prefer a 3-sport athlete.
That's crazy.
I mean, I've had several friends who grew up, hockey being their number 1 sport, all the way up to high school, and then going to college and playing football.
Yeah.
It's just. So
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, imagine if a guy like Tim Tebow only played football, which he didn't. He was actually a baseball. Was really his first love, but now he's playing professional baseball at the minor league level. But very interesting. Again, we're joined by Ryan McCarthy here. He's the head football coach of Triton, head baseball coach. What else do you do over there? You seem like a busy man.
In the past, I've helped coach the middle school basketball in the wintertime.
Okay.
I don't think I'll be doing that this year now. I'm head coach of 2 sports. But.
Yes, I would think so.
Yeah.
You got, and you said, and you, actually, before we get in trouble and before we forget, why don't you wish your wife a happy birthday here?
Oh
as well?
Yeah, my wife Melissa McCarthy. It's her 45th birthday today. Actually, tomorrow. But we're celebrating today because of football starting for me.
Celebration time tonight. See, there you go. Now we're all in safe ground there. The life of a wife of a football coach, not always the easiest job in the world, right? Or any coach, but football happens to be the one we're talking about here.
Yeah, she and starting tomorrow, she I guess she becomes a coach's widow. But she's great. She's known from the start that this is what I do and this is what I love, and she's accepted it, and she's always by my side,
Yeah.
through the good and the bad, and I appreciate her for that.
And it really does become, your family has to really put their heart into it and be committed to you. And I know you want all your guys to come together almost like a family, especially with football. There's no other really sport like that. Maybe you could argue a hockey or something, but where it's just that physical, protect your brother sort of thing. And if everybody's not pulling in the same direction, you're in big trouble as a football team. So there's really no other sport like it.
No, you're right. I I always think back to my senior year in high school, and I think one of the the biggest reasons we were so successful is how close we were as a team.
Yeah.
And I try to, let teams that I've coached, whether it's football, baseball, or any sport, that's the number one thing. Coming together early on is really big, knowing that the guy to your right and left is there for you,
Can you do that in these early practices here?
We try. We try. It's, times are different, but we certainly try. I mean, I think it's important, and we're always trying to preach that,
Yep. What's the so you talk about wanting you probably means you need some good captains, some good leaders. Do you have those already?
We don't. We've changed our captain policy, 5-6 years ago.
So you haven't even picked them yet?
No, we don't have captains yet. What we asked them to do is anybody who would like to be a captain in any of the sports that they write a letter to the coach.
Oh, that's unique.
Explaining why they should be a captain. We still go through the voting process and all that stuff, but you have to apply for it now.
Wow.
To be considered.
Wow, that's different.
Yeah, I think it's great.
Cool,
Especially where I came on late, that process started a little late.
Yeah.
But in the past,
so it helps you to have the.
In the past, we've done it like in the off season where it gives them an opportunity to show leadership skills throughout the off season, even if they're playing a winter sport or a spring sport. Getting in the weight room, getting the guys together, things like that, and then going into the summer, workouts and running and different camps and 7-on-7 tournaments, things like that. It gives them an opportunity to show some leadership skills and before we elect the captains.
So let me ask: was the first question you got from some of these kids? Is an email okay?
Yeah, pretty much.
And is an email okay?
Right. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Okay. It is okay.
Oh, so you guys don't require the old school letter?
No,
I was kind of hoping you went real old school. Cursive letter, please. I hear they don't even teach cursive anymore. Some of the interns here were telling me, no cursive teaching.
Yeah, I don't think my kids can write their name in cursive.
That's mind blown.
Yeah.
All my letters in cursive, every single one of them. Anyways, well, that's interesting. So very good. Do you have an idea who they might be, or really you're open to?
I really don't. Yeah, because we're actually we've extended it to this weekend as far as getting applications in.
Yep.
So I'm interested to see who applies.
Who puts the work into?
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to take a little thought.
It eliminates people who really don't want it, right?
Exactly.
Right off the bat, if you don't put the work into writing the letter. Again, Coach Ryan McCarthy of Triton baseball, and he's getting ready for to be the head coach for the first time of Triton football, which kicks into gear tomorrow. Schedule-wise, who do you open up with and when?
We open up that second Friday in September at Marblehead.
So
non-league game.
Yes, the Friday after Labor Day.
I think it's yes.
Yeah. Okay. First Marblehead.
Yeah.
All right. So that's a good test. And you said on the road?
Yeah.
Do you like starting on the road?
It doesn't matter to me.
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
It's that's going to be a good test for us.
Yeah.
They're very good. Last 2 years they've been either in the Super Bowl or made it to the the semifinals, and they're a bigger school than us.
Yep.
Higher division, but it's a good test for us. I enjoy playing those schools.
Now, Triton of the past, your former head coach at Triton, who you were the assistant under, mind is this
Patchian.
Patchian, yes, I think he was in here several times.
Yeah.
You guys you were one of the, I remember my high school team for, well, at least the first couple of years. Then they learned to throw the ball a little bit, but it was like hand it off, run it, pitch it, hand it off, pitch it. That's very rarely did the ball go in the air.
Right.
That was not Triton football for a very long time. Is that going to be the case? You're still going to see some, throwing the ball all over the place at Triton?
Oh, yeah. Yep. That's what we do.
All right.
That's what we do. I mean, to be honest with you, it's funny. People think we throw the ball a lot, which we do. I'm not saying we don't, but
you do.
In the end of the season, I think for the last 4 years, we've been 50-50 or 51-49 as far as running and throwing.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, that is for high school though. That is to be balanced like that is pretty unique, right? I mean, still people run the ball more.
Of course.
I think you got to have a good quarterback first of all, and you guys have been lucky with that too.
I've been, as offense coordinator, I've been lucky for the last 5 years to have 4 all-league quarterbacks since I've been there.
Yeah. And who's the running back too?
Liam Splain was a couple years ago. He was really good.
I would not want to tackle Liam Splain.
No.
Did he go on to play?
He's at Bates.
He's at Bates.
Playing football and lacrosse.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you guys drop athletes all over the college circuit, huh?
Yeah, we try to.
Good for you guys.
Yeah.
That's very good. But yeah, he was. And who was his quarterback that year? Because you guys made a run to the Super Bowl.
We made it to the semifinals.
Semifinals.
Yeah,
okay.
Louis LaRue.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, he went on to Mass Maritime. to play football.
Yeah, of course, they all play college. Very, very good. Well, that's great. That was what year was that? That was the semifinal.
That was 2 years ago.
2 years ago. Okay. Yeah. And then, all right, good. So that was the team I remember going, and those two guys walked in, and I think Louis walked in first, but both of them walked in, and I said, well, yeah, these guys look like football players. Very well spoken, though. They were good kids.
Good kids.
That was very cool. Again, Ryan McCarthy in-house here, talking Triton football, and how's the league looking this year? I know I had the Newbury coach Smolsky in here last week. He's very excited for his year 2 at the helm. Yeah, so I guess you're right. There are some new coaches in the league now that I think about it. But he's all excited. He has the benefit of having last year under his belt, something you don't have at the moment. So first year, do you expect some growing pains a little bit along the way?
Yeah, we're I think we're going to be young.
Yeah.
That's my thoughts going in. But that's okay. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
We will have some good senior leadership. But I think a lot of young kids are going to get a lot of experience this year at the varsity level.
That's actually pretty fun as a first-year coach, though, to be playing some freshmen and sophomores, because there's probably part of you that is thinking, I'm going to be pretty good in a couple of years if you're doing that sort of stuff, right?
Right. Oh, yeah.
That's exciting. Well, cool. Let's do this. We'll take our first break, then we'll come back. We'll talk a little bit more about the camp that is about to kick into gear, and we'll talk a little bit more about the season and, well, whatever else we talk about as we go. You know how it works here. It's pretty, pretty free-flowing. So my name is Drew Moholland. This is Afternoon Drive on Joppa Radio. Tyler Neufeld, the radio producer today. David Kramer on the television side. Hello to everybody watching. And hello to everybody on the YouTube stream as well, watching in real time. So it's good to see you all here on a Thursday. And, of course, the loyal radio listeners as well. We always appreciate that. Good to have you on board. We'll be right back. More with Coach Ryan McCarthy of Triton in just a moment.
God's children, arise, awake, and make this day. Realize this life for which you've chosen to cast the bane of doubt away. In God's mind, it's already happened. In God's mind, it's already here.
On up over that mountain, down to the town below. Left on 34, my friend, then before you know, you'll cross over that river and you're West Virginia bound. Hope you make it back this way, we sure did like your sound. Oh, this guitar has taken me so far, places I'd never find alone. As the miles turn to memories through every town I see, gives me a life, gives me a love, gives me a home. So it's on into the darkness as midnight comes and goes. You just can't be too careful when you're on these mountain roads. One lane, both directions, no one passes by. Round and round, up and down, it sure's a wild ride. Oh, this guitar has taken me so far, places I'd never find alone. As the miles turn to memories through every town I see, gives me a life, gives me a love, gives me a home. So it's on, we roll down this road. Nighttime turns to daytime in this Shenandoah sky. I can see the stars and the sun at the same time. Off in the distance there's a light that pulls me in. One more town and do it all again. Oh, this guitar has taken me so far, places I'd never find alone. As the miles turn to memories through every town
gives me a life, gives me a love, gives me a hope, gives me a life, gives me a love, gives me a hope.
All right, welcome back to Afternoon Drive here on Joppa Radio. My name is Drew Moholland. Hope you're all having a good Thursday here. Weekend is almost here. We are joined by Coach Ryan McCarthy, Triton Baseball, Triton Football now, hired in March as the head football coach as well. And, Coach, we were just talking off the air. One thing I didn't realize when we were talking about your high school days of playing, those days were played right here at Newburyport.
Yes, they were.
Very interesting now being on the Triton side.
Yeah.
That's a whole culture shift.
Yeah, it is, but it's a good one.
There's a lot of guys actually that have bounced around like that. Coach, who else has done it? There's been a few here. Coach Clay.
Coach Clay, yeah.
Coach Clay did it recently, and I'm sure
he's back home now.
Back home now,
Yeah.
yes, exactly. And I think there's probably several more too. Interesting. How does that feel putting on those colors for the first time? Is that like a moment where you're like, oh, this is weird?
It was different. It was, don't
Yeah.
get me wrong, it was different. But I had been there for at least a season in baseball before football started, and for me.
So baseball was the first.
Baseball was
weird.
the first. Yeah, but
Gotcha.
but it's been great. I love the people that I work for. That work for at Triton, and very supportive. And
Yeah. My first introduction was when I used to call the hockey games, and I tell this story quite often, but one thing I always loved about the Newburyport Triton games, first of all, they were always close. Both teams always showed up. It was always physical. It was always a battle, and sometimes it got chippy, whatever, but at the end of the game, you never saw any, like, cheap stuff in the handshakes lines or anything.
Yeah.
It was, handshake line, coaches, everybody, and then into the locker rooms. I always thought it was a very classy rivalry where you didn't really see any of the cheap stuff. You know?
no, I agree. It's an emotional week.
Yep.
Leading up to that game, but when it's all said and done, both teams do the right thing.
Yeah, and then for you guys really, there really are kind of, I don't know what it is about this Cape Ann League, but there's kind of several rivalries, right? I mean, it's not really just maybe Newburyport still is the big one for you. But.
I think Triton Newburyport's probably the biggest, even though Newburyport plays Amesbury on Thanksgiving and we play Pentucket on Thanksgiving. I still think Triton Newburyport is the biggest one.
That's the one.
Yeah.
It does feel that way, but yeah, no, it is interesting. I always wondered how that started, all those years ago.
Yeah, well, it started, I think, back in the early 70s when Triton was built, because most of the Triton students went to Newburyport.
Yeah. Stole some players.
Salisbury kids had the option, I believe, of Newburyport or Amesbury.
Yep.
Rowley had the option of Newburyport or Ipswich, and then the Newbury-Byfield kids went to Newburyport.
Yep. So that's how that goes.
Yeah.
Newburyport loses some players, and now you're on the other side.
Yeah.
There you go. So as you guys get going tomorrow, I know as a first-year coach, you must be heavily relying. Every coach heavily relies on their coaching staff anyway, but probably even more as a first-year guy. You got a good assistant coaching staff there with you?
I do. I've got two guys returning that have been in the program for 4 or 5 years now. My offensive line, defensive line coach, Ken Shute. My baseball assistant coach, who's been with me for the last 3 years, and he's been in the freshman level. In the last 2 years, he's been at the JV level, Jimmy Michael.
Okay.
And then I brought on 3 new guys. Coach V, he's my defensive coordinator now. He was the defensive coordinator at Haverhill.
Coach V?
Yeah.
Is that a last name?
Yeah, I'm not going to even try to say it. It's, but Coach Joffrey, he came over from Haverhill as well.
Okay.
And Coach Sullivan, we got him from Essex Tech, and he happens to be married to my niece.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so family. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How about that?
Good group of guys.
That is
Excited.
That is an interesting dynamic. Certainly.
Yeah.
Close family already there at
Yep.
Triton Football. What's the biggest? Obviously, 2 very different sports, baseball and football. 2 very different intensity levels, 2 very different strategies. Is there like a coaching thing that you change now moving into football? I mean, there has to be like just a very basic principle of maybe you have to up your intensity now for football, or I don't know. It's a very simple question, but it's probably hard to answer.
No, yeah, it kind of is. But I used to be very intense. I'm not going to lie as a younger coach, but I think I'm pretty reserved now. We'll see now in a different role.
You like Belichick, you mellow it out over
Yeah, exactly. We'll see now, though. I'm in a different role. You know, the last 5 years, I'm standing up on top of the roof or in a press box, just focusing on the offense.
Yeah.
You know, and now I got to focus on all aspects of the game.
Yeah,
and I'll
so
be
you
down
did
on the
the-
field.
you were
I
the
called the offensive coordinator for the last 5 years.
So you were up high.
Yeah.
That is different.
Which is a great view, but different now. You know,
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking about anything else but the next offensive play.
Yep.
And now I got to worry about the whole aspect of the game.
Gotcha. Interesting. So now you're down there running the whole show.
Yeah.
How much do you rely on your coaching staff? Do you pretty much the defensive guys? Are you saying it's your defense? You take them?
Yeah, we talk about it. You know, we meet a lot, and we're constantly talking together.
Yeah.
All 6 of us.
Yeah.
You know, and just bouncing things off of each other, and you know, coming to a conclusion of what we want to do. But Coach V is going to run our D, and I trust that, you know, what he does is going to work, and
Yeah.
and I got all the faith in him in that. And as far as the offense goes, you know, I'll still be a big part of the offense. But Coach Joffrey and Coach Shoot, my line coach, they have a lot of input as to what we're going to do as well.
Yeah, it always reminds me of that scene from Remember the Titans, where the two coaches there, and
Yeah.
then if your defense could stop somebody,
Yeah.
we'd,
Right,
we'd be able to
exactly,
score some
exactly.
points. It's,
And I'm open, you know. I'm open to any suggestion, you know.
Yeah.
So
Very good. We were just talking off the air about how it is incredible. We look at tonight. Patriots had their preseason game 2 tonight versus Philadelphia. I think that game's at Gillette, right? I think that's at home tonight. Not that it matters or anything, but so you're already in. The pros are already playing preseason week 2. It is amazing how fast the summer goes by here. It must feel like for you guys starting football in the middle of August here. It must seem like summer is literally 6 weeks. You were saying something that I've heard so many people around here say, that once the homecoming ends, that's it.
That's it. You know,
That's
that's
it.
when like I said, growing up as a kid, living in the report, that's the way I kind of looked at it. Once Yankee homecoming ended, the summer was over. You know, you knew
Yeah.
fall sports were starting, school was right around the corner, and
Yep.
you know, it's all coming to an end at that point.
I work with a guy who's a little bit more pessimistic, and he says, once the 4th of July comes, it's all downhill.
Wow,
So
That's a little early.
it is a little early, but the point taken.
Yeah.
Soak it up, because
Sure.
it goes by very quickly. What are you most excited about this group of guys? Is there something that jumps off the page at you before you guys even hit the field for the first time tomorrow?
I'm excited about. I think there's going to be a lot of competition.
Yeah.
Like I said, we don't have a lot of guys returning from last year's team as far as with experience.
Yep.
So I'm excited for the competition as a new coach, seeing who's been working in the summer and who who's
That
ready to
usually
go.
jumps off the page right away, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Who's been putting in the off-season work?
Absolutely. You can tell right away.
Yeah.
Especially the first time we condition.
You say that with a smile.
Right.
And some guys just got very worried there. I think probably. No, I'm just kidding. I remember doing too. It's not the easiest thing to especially for like a junior or senior to have a new coach. I remember having that happen to me a couple times in high school, and you're always like, you get a good thing going with a coach. You feel like you're in a good spot, and then suddenly it's like, all right, who's the new guy?
Right.
And with you, it's a little different because these guys know you. You've been on the staff, but there is still a little bit of that to it, right? Like,
No,
I wonder
of course.
what life is going to be like under Coach McCarthy. you know?
Exactly. And they all know that we've got some new coaches, a new defense, a new defensive coordinator, et cetera. And I'm just interested to see how they react to it,
Yeah. I think it does. The familiarity is probably a good thing, but there is that. And there's probably, on the other side of the spectrum, it probably is going to be an intense first week because you definitely have guys that are going to be like, well, let's try to show off our stuff here early.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
Do you does the football come out a lot in the first week? Or is it mostly like technique and drills? I mean, you guys out there running plays, throwing the ball around? Or?
We are. I mean, we like to, one of the things I like to do is just hit them with everything in the preseason. Just cram it all in, get it in. And then once the season starts, I kind of say like we put the cookbook in, and each week we pull out a menu.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so
I like that.
we just we try to get everything in that we'd like to have for the year. Not saying that throughout the season there might be a wrinkle here and there, but I like to try to get all our base stuff in that we want to be able to do throughout the regular season. Get it in preseason, let them see it, let them learn it, and then week to week, we're going to run this, pull things out. What's going to be what we think is going to be successful against each team. So and we'll only practice those things.
Yep. Coach Ryan McCarthy, Triton football, Triton baseball as well, but football is on the mind here today. You know, you've seen plenty of Triton footballs, five years in the books, and I wonder, now that you're the head coach, what's going to be the biggest adjustment? I mean, you got. There's probably going to be something that catches you off guard. That first game's going to come, and I think it would be crazy to think that you're used to everything as a head coach. It's probably going to be something. I wonder what's going to be the toughest adjustment for you personally.
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be. It will definitely be different. Just I think a lot of the responsibility piece of it, making sure everything's ready to go on game day. You know, every day during practice. You know, it's not. You know, not that the assistants don't have a lot of responsibility, because they certainly do, but.
Angry parents are coming to you.
Yeah, they're coming after me, and that's okay. That's okay. I'll be ready for it. I'm always afraid I'll forget like the camera or something like that, you know. But but like I said, I've got great coaches, and as far as delegating responsibilities, you know, they all have enough responsibility for themselves, and I think it'll be a great time.
I did joke about that, but their parents can be tough at the high school level. Their kid always deserves more playing time, always deserves to make the team, whatever the situation may be. I'm sure you guys have had some run-ins with that. I won't ask you to elaborate, but that is the part of the coaching thing that I think a lot of people don't realize, and that is hard on coaches, right? I mean, it's probably. I was talking to a coach here recently, and we were talking about how I had 30 guys come out for golf one year, and like I've never wanted to cut people in my entire life, but we can't carry that many.
Right.
Financially, you can't. Rules wise, you can't. All these things, and it's like parents don't quite realize like that keeps coaches up, having to make cuts and decide who to send home and not take. And I feel like every coach I talk to feels that way. I've never met a coach who's like, I love benching that kid, or I love cutting that kid. You know, it's so true, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's tough. I mean, I've had to do it, you know, in baseball. Yeah. More or less than any other sport, and it's not easy, you know. I mean, you never want to send a kid home, you know, who wants to be there. Yeah. But especially that when they're into it. Of course. And maybe probably could get better. Yeah. That's probably a good lesson too. I mean, it's the old Michael Jordan cut from the freshman team thing, right? It's sometimes you grow, sometimes you put more work in, and it just comes. But I wonder, and actually, let's do a complete flip-flop to baseball here for a second, because I am still, while you are definitely already in football mode, I am very much still in baseball mode with the the Red Sox cooking, and I'm a big baseball guy anyway. So I wonder what is like the one thing that's changed over the years for baseball too, because I always ask that question with football and baseball. Have there been changes? Are the kids different? Because everybody you talk to says baseball's dying. Yeah, and I don't know why. It's but they're absolutely right. I mean, if you look at the especially at the youth level. Yeah. You know, I can remember years ago, like for instance in Newburyport, the Pioneer League. Yeah. Hundreds of kids. Yeah. And there's probably under 100 kids now. Really? And the same, and I think it's everywhere. You know what I mean? I've got 3 towns that, Salisbury, Newbury, Byfield, and Rowley, and every one of them I talk to the presidents of the leagues all the time. Going into their seasons, and they're always talking about their numbers being down. How they used to be able to have 8 teams, and now they can only have 5 or 6. Yeah. And I don't know if it's lacrosse is picking up. That's definitely a factor, right? One of them. I think for the younger kids, it's baseball. You got to love baseball. At the younger level, it can. I think at times for kids it can be boring. Yeah. And I think you lose them there as far as their attention. But I mean, Little League was everybody played Little League when I was growing up. That Little League hasn't changed. Is it the other things in life that are distracting? Probably, is it the video games? Video games, phones? I don't know. Social media. I mean, everything. Electronics. It is crazy. Yeah. It drives me crazy because. I don't see it like you do. I don't see the 3 less teams than there were a few years back, or I don't see the numbers being lower at the high school level. So that's not exactly on my radar. I just can't imagine not enjoying watching the Red Sox and not being inspired to play some ball. Right, but then again, I'm a baseball guy, so who knows? But I don't know. It's interesting to talk about. What was I going to say too? You just mentioned something that I wanted to hit on. Social media. You're on it. I do know that. Coach, what's your Twitter handle there? Do you like giving it out? Or I could tell you what it is if you want. I'm terrible with it, honestly. Well, anyways, you're on Twitter. I am. We're on Twitter. It's good. Do you have to give like the preseason talk? Don't do anything stupid on Twitter. Is that part of the? Yeah, unfortunately, I do have to mention that. I even we had a coaches meeting last night. I mentioned it to my coaches. I mean, it's that. I just feel like I have to say it.
Especially that one guy, right?
Yeah, I just feel like I have to say it. You know what I mean? It's just, you hope that nothing happens, but like I said, it's got to be said, and you know, you hope that everybody that's a part of it is smart enough to.
Yeah, I'm sure you've heard some stories.
Oh yeah.
I always say it's a good tool, and if it's used correctly, but you have to treat it as, you know, real life. Don't say anything on there that you would not say in front of a bunch of people in real life. I mean, I think that's as simple a rule as it gets, and somehow it just feels different, I think, when you're typing it.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so hopefully, let's hope you never have to say that speech. Well, you should say it once a year, and then that's it. No need to reiterate it, right? But yeah, it is a different world with all that stuff. That might be what you find is the biggest change, actually, is all the social media and all the you know, all the promoting of games, even, and not that you have to do it. A lot of the ADs actually do a really good job.
Yeah, they do.
Of doing that. I know your AD, Sean McGinnis, does, and Kyle Hodgson's really good at Newburyport. So I guess as an athletic director, you can really get people knowing when games are, and so
absolutely.
Not that for football, you know, you play them once a week. You should have no excuses not to make a game. But and again, Marblehead, the Friday after Labor Day is when you guys kick off. So what? Do you know anything about Marblehead? Have you guys already been looking at tape? Is that how this works?
Yeah, well, not too much right now as far as Marblehead, but
it's more about you right now.
Yeah, they're very well coached. They like I said, the last 2 years, they were in the Super Bowl and the semifinals, and you know, we gave them a pretty good run last year in the first game at home. But they're good. It's going to be a good test for us. You know, they're going to be very competitive, and they'll have some good skill guys, and plus the bus ride, you know, that first game. Yeah, it's not a short ride,
right?
For sure, you know, going to Marblehead.
It's a good bonding experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Right? So you know, we just, you know, like I said, we'll find out right away against a very good team.
I think you just answered your own question. You like starting on the road, I think. Very good. So that'll be exciting. It must be fun to play those tight games. A team that you know is a good test. It must be just kind of fun to see where you're at right off the bat. Yeah. I would think that's probably a good thing.
Absolutely.
Then again, you'd probably like to win 50-0 too against somebody.
Yeah,
but,
of course, of course.
Maybe you can have the best of both worlds, right? Final thoughts, Coach McCarthy. I know you got to get out of here, and you guys got a big birthday celebration tonight, so I'll make sure you. I don't want to get you in trouble here, first time in the studio, so we'll get you out of here quickly. But what's your pitch to the Triton fan base to come out and watch Triton football this year? Because I know you'll have a lot of the regulars, but I'm sure there's some people that are maybe just curious.
Just come out and watch us compete. I mean, it's a good group of kids. Like I said, we compete every week. You know, our pride is up there, and I, you know, for the kids to look up in the stands and see a good crowd, I think it's awesome. It gives them a little more motivation.
Yep.
So, you know, I welcome anybody that wants to come out and see some good football.
There's nothing like high school football there, whether it be Friday Night Lights or Saturday afternoon, right? I don't know what the majority of your games are.
Friday Night Lights.
Friday Night Lights. Yeah. With a smile, as the coach. Well, Coach, it was a pleasure having you in the studio here. Give one more happy birthday to your wife. We'll have it covered on both ends of the show.
All right. Good. Happy birthday to my wife, Melissa McCarthy.
Happy birthday, Melissa, from all of us here at Chopper Radio. Pleasure having you in, Coach. We did it on the phone a ways back, but it was nice meeting you in person here. And best of luck on the season.
Thank you.
And we'll have you in maybe during the season if we can sneak you out at some point. But that'd be great. We'd love having you in.
I appreciate it.
All right. We'll see you next time. That was Coach Ryan McCarthy, head coach of Triton football, also the head coach of Triton baseball. But football kicks off tomorrow, so he is a busy man. We appreciate him making some time for us here at this busy time of year. When we come back, I'll finish strong here. We're going to say goodbye to Coach McCarthy, and I'll be back to wrap things up. This is Afternoon Drive on Joppa Radio.
should leave it to. My brother used a needle, and my sister sniffed cocaine. I don't use no junk, I'm the nicest boy you've ever seen. My sister even told me, and my grandma told me too, that using junk partner sure was gonna be the death of you.
Hi, this is Major Todd Hughes from the Salvation Army, and you're listening to WJOP-LP Newburyport 96.3 FM.
Ever thought about filming news, sporting events, or lifestyle stories, then editing it for sharing with others? Everywhere you look, there is a story. And when you become a member of the Greater Newburyport Community Media Hub, otherwise known as NCM Hub, you'll learn how to use the equipment to capture that story and share it with others on Comcast Channel 8 in Newburyport. Learn, create, share, and engage. Become a member of the NCM Hub. Get started by clicking on the Join button at the website ncmhub.org.
Woke up this morning feeling kind of bad, thinking about the good times I once have had, and I keep on rambling. The only thing I know to do, alright, I'm gonna keep on rambling, Mary, till I make it home to you. Alright. I've been to Georgia, here Tennessee, up to Chicago, where the blues got after me, and I keep on rambling, betting my luck gon' change someday. Alright, well, if my luck don't change, sure gon' be some hell to pay. Alright. I've been to Memphis, I've been to Maine, busted up in Boston, and a late night poker game, and I keep on rambling, betting my luck gon' change someday. Alright, well, if my luck don't change, gonna move out California way. Alright.
All right, welcome back to Afternoon Drive here on Joppa Radio. My name is Drew Moholland. We had a fun show here. We had a fun week. What a good week. That was Coach Ryan McCarthy of Triton Football and Triton Baseball right there. Real good guy. First time I got to meet him in studio, in person, so that was really good. Happy I got to do that. So we got Coach Ryan McCarthy in today. Day before his football season kicks off there at Triton, which was very exciting. That's a good guess. And Tuesday we had a lot of fun with Peter Nintendo and did a bit of a music show, and we kind of rocked out here for a while. Little mini concert here in the studio. So a very fun, successful week. That's the goal here. We like to mix it up, whether it be music, sports, whatever, theater, whatever, just interesting guests. That's kind of the whole goal here. That's what I was going for when we started. Hopefully we're hopefully we're pleasing you on that front, because that's what we're going for. It's just entertaining shows, entertaining guests, interesting people, and I think it's working out. I'm enjoying myself. Hopefully you are too. So thank you for your support here on Joppa Afternoon Drive. Tyler Neufeld just had to head off. Big thanks to our radio producer today. He jetted a few minutes early because he had a doctor's appointment. So thank you, Tyler. Good job producing again today. He's been outstanding here since he came back from college, and now in the real world doing some work here for us, but doing a great job on the producer front. And David Kramer producing on the TV side. He will get this thing all up and loaded and on YouTube, so you can watch it forever. So he does a great job with that stuff as well. So thank you, David Kramer, for that. I started the show off today by talking about the loss of Aretha Franklin for the music world, and I just thought it would be appropriate to maybe end with a little bit more talk on Aretha. I know so many of you were fans. And especially, I'm only 30, but it's for the people that got to really watch her explode, and how amazing she was. Even how many people can just stand on a stage and just win over masses of crowds at, 70. She was 74 2 years ago when she was playing that Kennedy Center's concert I talked about, and just belting out high notes. Just an amazing, amazing singer. And I thought it would be appropriate to end with this. Here's to be fair, I heard a cut of President Trump too, talking about Aretha Franklin when I drove in. The president giving his best to the family, and just talking about how wonderful Aretha Franklin was as a singer. But the one thing that I mentioned from that Kennedy Center honors that always sticks out with me is President Barack Obama seemingly shedding a tear. He wiped his eye during Aretha's performance that night, and he just took to Twitter and tweeted this: "Aretha helped define the American experience. In her voice we could feel our history, all of it, and in every shade our power and our pain, our darkness and our light, our quest for redemption and our hard-won respect. May the Queen of Soul rest in eternal peace." Barack Obama, just moments ago on Twitter. So there you go, in real time here on Joppa Radio. I thought that was a pretty cool tweet on a day when the music world has lost one of the powerhouses of music, a monster, the Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin. She was amazing, influenced so many people, and sad day losing Aretha Franklin. We did hear that she was surrounded by friends and family and went in peace, though, so that is always a good way to go, so we're happy for that. But a sad day as the music world mourns the death of Aretha Franklin. On that note, we will send it into the weekend. Be safe, everybody, this weekend. Enjoy what you're doing. Haven't looked at the weather forecast. I heard it several times today, but in one ear, out the other. Wasn't paying attention, whatever. Hopefully we end up getting a nice day on the weather front Saturday and Sunday and Friday. It's Friday tomorrow. Get through tomorrow, and then you have the weekend, and then we'll be back next week with a few more great guests Tuesday and Thursday of next week. So thank you so much. My name is Drew Moholland. Don't forget, follow the show at Joppa Afternoons on Twitter. That's at Joppa Afternoons on Twitter. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week. This has been Afternoon Drive on Joppa Radio.